Pardon?
It's gonna be late. He's still home up here.
Oh, okay.
I told him 5 demerit points for being late. And then he said he was still up here. I told him 25 demerit points for being late.
5 push-ups every minute.
He can probably do
He
it.
probably could.
I can do maybe 15.
You put your shoulder press, you can do it.
Well, I have to do it from the table. I can't do it from the floor. Yeah, because this.
Come on, obstacle push-ups? Choose those.
Yeah.
Those are
It's a new rule. You gotta
Yes.
put it on the-
Yeah, let's call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Proposed additions, deletions, changes to the proposed agenda this evening.
Yes, we would like to add 2 regular agenda items. One is for the Kennedy invoice for the RAS pump labor, and the other is for EQ valve replacement parts.
And if we make 5, 6.
Yes. It'll be the Mr. Farley show at the end.
Look forward to that. Okay, roll call.
President Schneider,
Present.
President Pro Tem Dyke,
Present.
Councilmember Feldman, Councilmember Glasser, Councilmember Kuligowski,
Present.
Councilmember Powell,
Present.
Councilmember Stuckler.
Present.
Okay, minutes. I have nothing on minutes. Whoever drafted them was perfectamento. Anybody have any comments for the regular meeting minutes for November 21, 2023 meeting? Not. General fund. Major streets, local streets, Parks and Recreation Fund, DDA Fund, Sewer Fund, Water Fund, Equipment Fund, Payroll Register Report. Entertain a motion.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Pro Tem Dyke and supported by Councilmember Steffler to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion or discussion at all? All those in favor, vote aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved by all those members in attendance. Now is the time on our agenda for public comment for any agenda item. Any public comment relating to anything that is in our agenda for this evening? Being none. Agenda item number 1, Ordinance 193.8, food truck use. Second reading, potential adoption. Is it going to get through this time? Or are we going to get old tacos or whatever? And one thing I was curious about the way it's proposed, the ordinance itself. An ordinance is normally just council vote, and the ordinance at its conclusion appears to show it as a resolution in terms of,
All ayes,
votes.
nays, abstain.
pardon?
Yeah, I see there's a roll
Yeah,
call
I
there.
presume
We
it's not
can,
by resolution?
we can remove the
Okay.
ayes.
All right, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So, we now have 6 design standards, and is everybody at peace with those? If we've had the number 5, noise generation, 70 decibels, breast height, 20 feet. So we've narrowed that down. And then 6, the additional information to be provided which would be to village administration, presume. So any concerns regarding what we have in front of us this evening?
Well, I was looking this over and I just thought that we should make a motion to pass this.
That sounds like a positive.
You just thought of that.
I'll make the motion that we adopt ordinance number 193.8 for administrating food trucks or zoning districts for food trucks.
I will support.
Motion made by President Pro Tem Dyke, supported by Councilmember Kulikowski, to approve ordinance 193.8, to adopt, I should say. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Objections? Approved, unanimously approved by all council members in attendance. Regular agenda item number 2, resolution 23-12-01, opting out of Public Act 152. Any quick commentary, Kim?
We do this annually, according to our collective bargaining agreements. It's just to opt out of PA 152 for the financing of healthcare plans,
We've been doing this since 2012?
at least.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions from the newer members?
No.
All right. I'll make the motion that we adopt resolution 23-12-01, opting out of the provisions of Public Act 152 and complying with our collective bargaining agreements.
I'll support.
Motion by Councilmember Steffler, supported by Councilmember Kulikowski, to approve resolution 23-12-01, opting out of Public Act 152. Any further discussion?
I did see one line in there. It says the council must pass a resolution by 2/3 vote.
Mhm.
So does that mean we all have to vote on it?
Well, by 2/3. So if this roundtable does it unanimously, that'll be 2/3. Yeah, you're right. If there was any significant negative voting on it, it would become a problem. And then then there would be a union strike and we would have no police officers at all. So we could invite some of our favorite council members to your home. Just kidding. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Kulikowski?
Aye.
Howell?
Aye.
Steffler?
Aye.
Dyke?
Aye.
Schneider?
Aye. Unanimously approved and adopted by all those council members in attendance. Regular agenda item number 3, resolution 23-12-02, building funds transfer to general fund. Kim, can you make a presentation?
Yes. This money that is in the building fund was when the township was doing our building permitting. And I confirmed with CCA there are no outstanding permits open still from that department. I discussed that with the auditor about what do we do with these funds. He said it was fine to transfer to the general fund so long as those expenses go towards the ordinance enforcement. Since our OEO officer is paid from the general fund, we would use those funds to help with her expenses.
Terminology is earmarked,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Discussion, council?
Sure you'd like to close out this.
Yes.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Just sitting there being unused, so.
I'll make the motion we adopt resolution 23-12-02, transferring remaining funds from our building fund to the general fund.
Motion made by Councilmember Steffler, supported by President Pro Tem Dyke, to approve Resolution 23-1202, transferring sums of money from the building funds to general fund, and that was me. In the amount of $5,982.67. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Have to do a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call, resolution, yeah.
Powell.
Aye.
Steffler.
Aye.
Dyke.
Aye.
Kuligowski.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye. Unanimously approved by all those council members in attendance. Moving on to regular agenda item number 4, wastewater treatment plant grit room overhead door replacement. Are we striking that? Or are we leaving that on the agenda to discuss it?
We're leaving that on the agenda.
Okay, all right. So is that your presentation, Clint?
Sure.
4, 5, and 6. Go ahead.
Okay. So, the plant has a grit room. Basically, it's for like waste disposal. It has a dumpster. It's a giant 12 by 14 metal roll up door. So the controls quit working on it, and the door rolled up past its limiter, and it bound up, and we freed it, and the door fell off the drum, and it's kind of in not great shape, and it hasn't been in good shape for about 15 years or so. Elmont overhead door and Pontiac overhead door suggested replacing it a long time ago, and it's basically unrepairable. So the door needs to be replaced. So we went over a few options to replace it. We had Elmont overhead door look at it. Oxford overhead door looked at it. Davison overhead door looked at it. We had an independent guy look at it today from a recommendation, and we had White Store look at it. And we have 3 quotes so far. Some of them have to tweak their quotes. We talked about going with a regular standard overhead door, your garage door style. It's a more standard installation, and more of them know how to work on it. But it's not going to work because we have a heater that would interfere with the door, and the garbage truck uses almost all 14 feet to get in the garage, so it wouldn't have enough clearance. So this first memo I wrote up that's in the regular packet, I wrote this about 6 days ago. It was a day after the door broke. That was just letting you guys know what was going on. So Elmont overhead door has been out a few times since I've been here in the last 8 years to look at the door. It broke down twice while I was here. And the guy there, is it Ryan Jessel? He said he's been coming out for 15 years, and he's been hounding Mark to fix the door. Or he recommends fixing the door. I mean, the door still worked, but it's his recommendation. We should have replaced it years ago. And then we called Pontiac overhead door, and then he recollects having a conversation with us years ago to replace it as well. So we have 2 sources there that have said replace it, and the door has never gone up and down very smoothly either. And the manual override chain fall the gears are stripped out on it. They have been. So
Why are you quoting an explosion-proof door for that room?
The door was not meant to be explosion proof. It's a motor. Everything in that room is intrinsically safe because the raw sewer channel runs through the room as part of grit removal. So the motor has to be explosion proof.
Sealed?
Yeah, just the motor, not the door. So,
Do you have quotes?
yes, if on the add-ons, there's one quote in the back. We have two more quotes, but one's not correct, and the other's Almont overhead door wanted to quote the standard door, and he didn't necessarily want to quote the metal door because he doesn't do metal doors that often. He would rather us go with the first route or go with the standard door, but we can't do that. It's not a great idea to do that.
Just for the record, our wastewater treatment plant supervisor did include 3 photographs of the damaged door. So we know what
Is
it
there
looked
a
like.
way to put an external door on there where the motor would be outside? Because I mean, I've priced these things at my shop before, and 21 grand for that door is outrageous.
Sure.
I mean, I understand the need for the explosion proof, but you know, that's a huge amount of money for that door.
Right. That's the Davison quote for 22. From my understanding, it's a standard insulated it's an insulated rolling steel door. And the controls and the motor is supposed to be explosion proof. And the motor is a 463 phase. So, we're still getting quotes on it, so it's still going to be a little bit of research. And when we have the quotes, I'll present them.
Is it someone do you work with, Ed?
I mean, we use just standard local overhead door companies, and yeah, I mean, we have volatile propellant and stuff like that.
Same thing.
We've never really ran into it where we've had a requirement, but I guess with spray coming out of a sewer line, that might be a little bit of different subject. But is it possible for like a protective box or something to be put around there, or deflect? Because I mean, you have a heater right next to it. What's the difference at that point?
I see.
The heater's going to cause the fire, or the motor's going to cause the fire. So does it really need to be?
Yeah.
I'm all about safety, but I just challenging the cost of the door.
Understood. When the plant was built, the plant was kind of state of the art in '88 was when they finished construction. So there's really not enough toxic gases to really present a serious explosion hazard, in my opinion. But everything in that room is explosion proof. All the light fixtures, all the controls, and there's no outlets in there. That was my first thought: does a motor really need to be explosion proof? But I don't know if that would violate.
Yeah, if it's a code, then you have to follow it.
Yeah.
But,
We could check and see if there's a code for it. So.
Or the other option would be if there's an external setup where you still have the same door height, but the controls are for on the outside, where it wouldn't.
Correct. So the motor that's in there isn't explosion proof currently. They didn't do that. They neglected that when they built the
So
plant.
we've been operating without one all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're going to get back to us with some additional quotes
Yes.
on this issue. Okay.
Yeah. We're not ready to present quotes. Yeah.
There's no repairing that, so yeah, it's got to be replaced. But
Yeah. I just put one quote in there, which was the only quote that I felt comfortable showing you guys. That was accurate.
So if these lead times are accurate for 8 weeks, what do you plan on doing in the meantime to get the materials out?
I've already ordered a dumpster that will set outside. The dumpster we have is trapped in the room. So Waste Management decided not to bill us for having 2 dumpsters. They'll just charge a drop off and a pickup fee, one-time fees just for dropping the dumpster off and picking it up when we're done with it, when the door's fixed.
Is there a way to route the sewage or whatever to the outside? Like, how does that work then?
There's a the endpoint where the grit ends up deposits right into the dumpster, and it won't create enough waste to need dumping, and it would take like several months. 3,
We
4,
should
5,
be
6.
okay.
Yeah, it should be fine.
So what you're putting on the table could not have council approval until the
Correct.
next council meeting?
Yes.
That's what you're anticipating? Okay, all right. As long as you can make it through. So essentially, you've given us information, but we're tabling it. We'll agree.
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item number 4 is being tabled. Agenda item number 5, Kennedy, whatever. That's you also, Clint, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Um,
proceed, please.
So, our first 2 RAS pump, we should stop using the acronym. They're return activated sludge pumps. We had the first 2 done by ProSeal, and it took them nearly a year to finish the second one. And by that time, David and I were concerned about the amount of time it would take ProSeal to finish the third one. We wanted to get the project done, so we decided to tap Kennedy Pump, or Kennedy Industries. We decided to tap them to do the third pump under the impression that they would just knock it out of the park and get it done quickly. So we signed an agreement to have them do the repair of the third pump and start order parts. So the main part of the pump on the inside, the impeller, it needed, basically it had to go out to a machine shop to get fabricated. And that had about a 12-week lead time as well. So we had them get going on that. So, but when they got that part, that's when they decided to tear the pump apart. And that's when they saw that they couldn't work on it. They said it was unrepairable and the parts were in pretty bad condition. They're pretty horrid condition. So that's the leftover part, that expense. They can't reuse that in really any of their other pumps because it's not often they get the pump we have in there. So they told me that we would have to purchase that part. That was upon receiving the news months ago. And we just got the invoice today.
It's not to have a part created without looking at the pump before they sent the part out to be created.
Yes.
We can't use this part, like keep it as backup, or like does it have 0 value to us, or does it have value to us?
It has some value. We have 2 of those pumps in service right now, so it can be used in those pumps. It's interchangeable. The ones that were just rebuilt. Yes.
So are they just charging for the part they had made plus the R&R of the pump itself, or are they wanting additional labors? Because I know where he's going is, why didn't you do the full tear down to have a complete,
Yes.
It seems like they stopped at the first broken thing and didn't go all the way through. So
I was just thinking that today as well. And at that point, we decided to, we have to have a backup pump, so we decided to just shop for a new pump, which is ordered currently. And the other 1320 charge, that's for them coming by, uninstalling the pump and transporting it. Those are just transportation and removal costs. That 1,320 out of this 6,165.
Part's $6,000. What was the cost of the entire rebuild?
Approximately $18,000. The new pump, I believe, out the door with installation is 13,000 and some change. Yeah. I wasn't aware at the time that the new pumps could go for that, but that pump it's a direct replacement, so it'll bolt right in and line right up. The train of thought was to rebuild what we have. Is rebuilding would
Understand, but, and I'm not happy about paying $6,000 for a part that's going to sit on the shelf and probably never be used. But going forward, if we do rebuilds, have them tear down an estimate before we have anything built for it, and price new pump before rebuilding old pump. That should be standardized operating procedure going forward.
Yeah.
Typically, either with equipment rules, general rule of thumb, if your rebuild costs are going to be 75% of new, you're better off just going new at that point in time. So,
Before we pay this, I would go back to them and see if they can give us a 20 or 30% discount off the price of this, since they didn't do the tear down and let us know we didn't need this part in the first place. Okay. Before I pay this invoice.
I'm sure there's a markup on that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah. I understand that they had to do the labor and there was a cost associated to it, but there shouldn't have been a cost if they would have done their diligence and tore down the pump
True.
before they had a part built for the pump. So part of it's on us, but part of it's on them too.
So it's looking like it will not be, that invoice will not be approved this evening, and you'll be in communication with Kennedy and we'll table that item as well. Okay, moving on to regular agenda item number 6. That's what, the valve replacement?
Yes. Number 6. So the valve replacement was successfully completed. The initial quote of the 8-inch butterfly valve was $3,045 even. The actual cost of that valve was less once invoiced. And we had to buy some extra parts. We had to buy a sleeve, some what they call mega lugs and phosphor adapters and bolt packs. So that sent the price over the initial $3,045. And we ended up going with a different style valve, which we returned. They gave us full credit or no restocking fee. And that new valve cost even less. But once you add up the cost of all the extra parts necessary to do the install, because we provided all the parts. We worked with a contractor. We asked him what he wanted. So we bought the parts from him, and all he did was labor. We didn't buy any parts from him. That was part of the logic, since we were tapping a few different contractors. I wanted it apples to apples, just purely labor. So, and that might have saved us some markup too on some of the parts, but we had to buy a few extra things. So it's ended up about almost $300 over the initial amount approved for the job. That's it.
So which of these invoices are we approving? All of these invoices? What are we approving?
So what's the final total?
$3,334.72.
Say that one more time.
$3,334.72.
So I'm assuming the 2,700 plus the 730, but you have return parts.
It's kind of messy because yeah.
If
I
you,
don't know.
if you add all the invoices and subtract all the credits, it comes out to that 3,000.
But you did not return the MJ45 bend and Foster adapter and all that.
We returned the Foster adapters and the 45. Yeah, we returned the butterfly valve, 2 flange packs.
I guess I'm struggling to see how it's over 3,300 then.
It would be the it would be the total amount invoiced minus the credits we got back. I tried to get them to cancel these invoices and re-invoice it, everything on one sheet, but they insisted on this. And the credits are
What I'm seeing here, you have a credit for $2187.51 for the butterfly valve and the flange pack.
yes.
And the way this, there's a backside to this. That's
There's
what
a
I'm
backside.
missing. All right. Okay. So yeah, more writing on the parchment. All right, so it kind of jostles around here. I see where you return those. That's deducted. That's making a little bit more clear sense now.
So we made 3 separate purchases and 2 returns.
So the valve was cheaper, but the additional hardware is what drove it over.
Yeah, essentially. And some of the freight. But
Back to my original question. Can we do this all in one, or are we approving individual invoices here?
You could approve for the total amount.
Okay.
As per the invoices in the packet, if you would like to do that.
Makes it easier.
Yes.
Walking. All right. Where's your total?
It's 330. It's 334.70. It's $3,334.72.
All right, I'll make the motion that we approve the invoices from Kennedy.
Michigan Pipe and Valve.
Oh, sorry, Michigan Pipe and Valve. In the amount totaling $3,334.74.
I'll support,
72.
72 cents.
Yeah, 72 cents.
and I will support.
Who supported?
I-
No. Motion made by Councilmember Steffler, supported by Councilmember Kukowski, to approve the Michigan pipe valve final quote after adding up all initial charges and deducting all the expenses, and came out with a bottom line as stated on the record by Councilmember Steffler. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved by all council members in attendance. That, the Clint show is done. And, thank you. And that does wrap up our regular agenda for this evening. Now is the time for public comment for any non-agenda items. Is there any public comment this evening for a non-agenda item? I recognize you.
Hello, my name is Melissa Schneider, and I'm here on behalf of the DDA board just to recap the holiday parade. This is, well, I started, my first time was helping out with the parade was in 2017. So this would be my 5th year helping. I just solely help out with lining up the floats. This year we had approximately 30 floats, which is in line with what we have had in the past. Some new people coming from other towns, businesses, new student organizations, entering parade floats. We did have some people that weren't unable to join us this year. But we obviously extended our route this year to the high school. That will be a learning experience. I think that even for myself, a lot of some minor issues that we never had to deal with, that it was centralized.
Is the staging easier though, since you had more room to stage?
More room,
Yeah.
but we definitely need more volunteers. We need to purchase or acquire more barricades. There's so many entrances, and that became a little bit of a public safety issue. Even like I said, I never realized how many parents dropping off kids that were in the parade, because everyone's just walking there. You don't see all those cars. So that parking lot, the high school parking lot, was halfway filled with parents dropping their kids off and then staying there. So it's a constant flow. A lot more police presence this year. I know one police officer did have to leave their position on the main street. We were made aware of that immediately. But then on the upside, I was struggling to maintain the flow of traffic in the high school parking lot, and I had the assistance of an officer, which was invaluable. Some of the drivers didn't care going around cones. They just wanted to hurry up and drop their kids off. It's cold outside, trying to get up as close as they could to the parade floats. But overall, I was very impressed with the relationship between the different departments. Obviously, the last time I came up here and spoke, it was a little bit different. So I was very happy to see that. It looks like moving forward, hopefully we'll have the same type of working relationship where we can hopefully come together. We're going to be recapping soon. Our next meeting will be recap of Holiday Parade and starting back up on Heritage Festival. So hopefully at that time, department heads, we can invite them and discuss things that didn't work, things that we all need to improve on, and just continue to maintain a good relationship. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or received any feedback about the Holiday Parade, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
It looked like there was more people there this year. I mean,
There
they were
was.
lined up wall to wall from the bank all the way down to the theater, it looked like.
It was a lot of people. And then I also saw a lot of people utilizing that were able to sit at their front porch or put chairs out in their lawn.
They were putting chairs out 3 hours before the parade.
Yep. The parade floats were showing up before 5 o'clock.
And there was officer present right downtown also, right at the Four Corners.
There was, I believe, 9 officers there. So that's why, we couldn't have asked for more. We treat the Holiday Parade as a much smaller event than what it really is. Because when you think about it, it's just as big as Heritage Festival with the number of people who are down there from a public safety standpoint. And now we are needing more police presence, obviously, to assist us with the floats. Like that would be obviously helpful. And there's more closures. It's a short amount of time, but we definitely it gets packed on there for sure.
This event appears to be on the continuum of more and more community involvement. It's what seems to be happening, going this way, which is a real positive. And it does appear that our police department did handle this properly in an efficient manner in terms of having 9 officers on, which was a problem for the Heritage Festival. So that was good. And then I think one of the things we're going to be looking at, of course, on the DDA board as well, is attempting to obtain additional law enforcement. Imlay City, we have documentation. Imlay City brings in Lapeer County Sheriff's Department when they have their Blueberry Festival. And so we have the quotations from that. So that's another thought that's going to be pursued. But it certainly was a learning experience. When I first got on council here, we were always doing the holiday parade from the high school parking lot, and then somehow it got changed to Washington Boulevard. So this was much better. But yeah, so as Melissa says, learning experience, but whatever struggles there were, it appears to have been extremely successful. So
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, not to mention, we did have more organizations involved. The school superintendent and interim superintendent was a judge. One of the township board members, Kim Streeter, she would judged, and then Fire Chief Don Smith, and they were all very excited, enthused to be, incorporated in the event, and are excited about getting their organizations, I guess, more involved moving forward, which we will definitely need help with. Them, more volunteers, anybody that we can, is willing to help out, we would gladly take. So,
good job.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah. Thank you for making that presentation. Very helpful. Any other public comment this evening? So, I guess we could actually try to wrap up. Kim, anything to bring to council?
Sir?
Okay. Tim? Mindy?
No, nothing.
Just one comment. Recently, there's been a lot of social media hullabaloo about a noise ordinance that is getting talked about in the township, Elmont Township. There was a few articles printed opposing this, claiming that you won't be allowed to mow your lawn or run a chainsaw. But unfortunately for the village of Elmont, they used the water tower as the icon of the article. So I've been getting contacted by several neighbors thinking that it's us, this body, proposing this noise ordinance and creating quite a ruckus and a challenge against it. So I've been setting the record straight, but just wanted to let everybody know that it's out there. I even got it, work in Auburn Hills. I got approached down there by people who don't even live here because this thing's spreading like wildfire across multiple communities. So just be aware, you may get approached, but yes, it is not our ordinance. It is the township's business, and explain that we do have our rules and regulations concerning ORVs, but yes, you can still mow your lawn and not get in trouble in the village of Elmont. So,
Yeah, it is a common point of confusion about village.
yes, yeah,
township.
and the fact they used the water tower didn't
Yeah.
help
Right.
distinguish that separation as well. So, but
Nothing like small town gossip.
oh yeah, and when like I said, when I got approached at work in Auburn Hills, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" It's like, happy you couldn't even point to Elmont on a map.
And it's
So,
usually accurate about 3% of the time.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. So
it's
yeah,
amazing.
in
yes.
reading through the actual article, it's getting grossly misinterpreted. But they
With that in Tri-City Times?
I believe so, but there is also several posts on social media that are really spreading around that are just picking
Yeah.
and choosing things. And
Well, we used to have a reporter from the Tri-City Times show up here. It's Randazzo, but that hasn't happened in a long time now, which would help if the reporter was actually here.
Right.
Was hearing what we're actually doing rather than.
but I believe that's where the
Assume that-
original article was posted, was Tri-City Times. I remember seeing
More
that,
likely.
but
Okay.
this was the sections I see.
Based.
Yeah, and it's just gaining fuel from there because they made a TikTok reel and all that stuff. And yeah, so it's out there. So we're famous for something.
Oh, cool.
But
Thanks for putting it on the record.
yes.
That's
so-
good. Anything else, Ed?
That's all I.
Steve?
All set.
All set? I say we're all set too. Good meeting, everyone. And we're adjourned.